It is time to leave your worries outside and laugh with us inside the Treehouse. I'm Dan O'Malley along with Trey Trenholm. Coming up on today's show, when the boyfriend finds cheese, well, we answer a new age question of, so who is actually doing all the drinking? And we will also be discussing possibly an interesting life change here inside the Treehouse. Speaking of which, if you like, love, or even hate everything you hear inside the Treehouse today, do us a favor, share the show with a friend. Hit that share button from your favorite listening platform. Share it with a friend, family member, coworker. Share it on social media, and together, let's grow the Treehouse show. Thank you very much. So let's start today with a possible life change inside the Treehouse. Trey, you kind of had a weekend of discovering things. Tell me more.
Are we talking about the brandy thing or?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing exercising twice a day while I'm trying to get a business started and clear my head, occupy my time. And honestly, I started walking after Brandy left me because sometimes my thoughts got so dark, I just needed to get outside and some sunshine and some fresh air helps.
And a rocket revenge bod never hurt anybody either.
Yeah. So I was walking the other day, and lo and behold, first, like she passed me where I was going east, she was going west, and I saw her. I don't know if she saw me. And then
was she on foot or in a car?
She was in a car.
Okay.
Then the following morning, so about 8:30-ish, I'm walking and there are multiple apartment complexes around my apartment complex. And I said the Cedar Springs area. And I'm walking past the entrance of one complex, and she's pulling out, and so like, oh, okay. So we live close to one another. Great.
So this weekend you discovered that your ex-girlfriend who ghosted you lives in the complex around the corner.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And then I hadn't, so I was walking yesterday afternoon, Sunday, and her complex has a little dog park, and one of the things that not only did the breakup rip me apart because I really thought she was my soulmate and we had so much in common, and like I said, we never thought we had just a wonderful relationship. But one of the other things was she had a dog, and the dog was with me a lot, and I got very attached to the dog, especially after Daisy died. And so she's out in her dog park, and the way I walk, I can't help but walk in front of her. Oh, I could go it. I'm not gonna uproot my life and what I'm doing just because she lives close by. I don't care.
Good for you.
But I saw her, and obviously she saw me walking down the opposite side of the street. But then I go down the intersection, cross, and come back up her side of the street. And I looked over, and she's at the farthest point of the dog park, holding her dog, like I am some kind of maniacal, terror that's going to, that I'm the villain and I've done something wrong and untowards her, and she has to be afraid of me. So it's just bizarre. And I guess when you're avoidant and you do stuff like that, I guess you have to make a reason why the other person's a villain. And I don't know. It's heartbreaking, but it is what it is.
On the plus side, if I may, your girlfriend ghosted you and you found her. It kind of makes you a Ghostbuster. I'm going to drive you to start drinking again, aren't I?
No.
Dude, that sucks so hard.
God. It's kind of sad because one of the things that I absolutely fell in love with her is she had this absolute, it sounds like a cliche, but a spark, a light about her. And the times I've seen her, obviously, it's just from far away or in a car, but she looks dead inside. So that's sad.
Wow.
But she's made, not only she ghosted me, then, she just she had a fantastic job and up and just quit because she got mad at them one day. And I was like, oh, making all sorts of good decisions, have we?
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I have a couple questions. Okay. First of all, now the apartment you just moved into is not far from where you lived before. Same neighborhood, basically, right? Close enough.
Close enough. I mean, it's less than a mile away. How about that?
Yeah, that's close, especially in Dallas-Fort Worth terms. That's like next door neighbors. So where did she live prior to hooking up with you?
She lived very close to where we live now in the same. So basically we're on the other side of the toll road. Like Cedar Springs goes over the toll road, and I was on one side. She's always been on this side. Now I'm on that same side.
Got it. Okay. So in the same general area. Mm-hmm. The reason why I asked that is because I wasn't sure if it was like if she had lived outside of that bubble and moved into it to be closer to, or whatever the situation was. Because for the most part, I think you guys were at your apartment for the most part, and then there was discussions of moving in, and then obviously that didn't happen. So I was just wondering what the geography was. If that was actually if she had uprooted it all.
No, that was actually one of the magical things with her is, and dating in this day and age is sometimes, if someone lives in South Lake, it makes it a lot harder. That 30 miles may not sound like a lot, but it ends up being quite a bit. And she lived right by me, so that was one of the things that made it very nice.
Yeah. For establishing a new relationship, living kind of far apart is inconvenient. Mm-hmm. But if the relationship ends, then it's real nice.
Fair enough. Yeah, absolutely is true.
Now, I've been sort of in the situation that you're in, as far as,
and listen, about this. We did not talk about this on the show, but I saw her one other time, and that is, it was the weekend I moved, and I had decided I was going to treat myself to a pedicure. I pull in the parking lot, and we had both been to this place before, and she's walking out, and I honked and waved at her, and she would not make eye contact with me. She would not look at me. I pulled in. I was pulled in behind her. Then I pulled in next to her. And I mean, it was one of the most shocking things that she would not acknowledge my existence.
I'm just asking questions. I'm just curious. I'm just trying to see the scene in my mind. Like when you honked and waved, was it like in any way angry or aggressive at all? Or are you just like, hey, what was it? What was the
hey.
wave?
I mean, at this point,
it's me.
Yeah, this is someone that I spent every day with, walked out of my door. And at this point, I had not seen her in 6 weeks. And so it was shy. I was so stunned by the fact that I'm just pulling in and not thinking about running into her. And then she comes walking out. But No, in no way was it threatening or anything else. I was just honestly, I wanted to say hi.
Yeah.
Uh,
So kind of getting back to this. So living kind of far apart from one another is difficult at the beginning of a relationship, trying to close that gap, with the distance between the two. But if the relationship ends, kind of nice because then you don't have to worry about running into them. But on the flip side, when you live, work, go out to eat and stuff in the same area, when you meet, it's great for the relationship because you're so close already. But if the relationship ends, you're still living and working and eating in that same neighborhood with the ex, and now you have to navigate that. And that's the area of your relationship where I have some familiarity because I had a previous serious relationship. And when I moved out, I moved, basically still in the same area when I went to go stay with friends. And so we ran into each other a few times. And a couple of the times it wasn't so fun. So it can be an awkward thing. Like at one point it was brought to my attention at one point in the wake of that relationship that we needed to draw lines and we needed to split up venues. Like one venue would be hers, another venue would be mine, kind of a thing. And somehow we weren't allowed to go into these other spaces. I flat out denied that. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I took sort of your approach, which was, I'm going to live my life and I'm not going to worry about where you may or may not be.
Right. I although I had no idea where she had moved, because obviously she just cut off all contact with me. But I knew that sooner or later, I mean, I knew I would see her. I mean, obviously grocery store, all various things. It's kind of inevitable.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, at first it was shocking and you're like, oh crap, that's her. And then, then after a while it's like, okay, well, and especially after the nail salon thing, it's like, I don't understand why you would not even look at me or acknowledge my existence, or someone you spent 7 months with and said was the love of your life and you wanted to spend it forever with, and then all of a sudden, and like I said, we never had a fight. There was no blow up. I still to this day have never gotten anything of someone, hey, this is why I left.
Yeah.
But you can't even say hello and be cordial. It was shocking.
Is this the strangest relationship you've had?
It's the strangest breakup. And this is one of the things. My previous breakups, a lot of my relationships, I was an alcoholic. And so they were messy and ugly, but they were bad relationships. This was the first time in my life I would say I really had a healthy relationship. I was very comfortable. First time I was comfortable with someone. And I think a lot of it, ironically, was we had some shared trauma from our mothers and kind of abandonment issues, and I told her that was a thing. And I knew she had some issues with that too, with her dad, but we both had mothers that were selfish, self-centered, and at the end of the day, didn't care about anything but themselves. And we both hated that. And then it turns out that's exactly how she acted. Yeah.
That stings.
Yeah.
It stings and oh God.
It's the worst part of it is that I never saw it coming from her. Like I said, we had so much fun together. We just hung out all the time and it was wonderful. And then it's like, oh, it's too, and then you realize that's the problem. Oh, it's too good. So you, instead of from everything I've read, it's the mindset of, well, before that person leaves me, I'm going to leave them.
Gotcha. And so not only did, after 7 months together, not only does she ghost you, but she also, it's the 21st century now, so you can't just break up with anybody anymore because now there's social media implications. One of the first things, I don't know if any of the social media platforms have this or not, but I think they should institute it, which is uh like if I'm not even sure if Facebook still has the interrelationship, it's complicated, whatever the designations were at one point. I've been married since 2012, so I don't know what the updates have come with. Mine's pretty much just said married to Tara for quite a while. But what I'm getting at is when you break up with someone in the 21st century, it's like, okay, how are we going to handle this on social media? Uh, there needs to be a function on social media to be like, okay, wipe all photos with this person, because that's what a lot of people do. Like, first step is like, I
She
now have to wipe from existence any sort of evidence on social media that this relationship ever happened.
um she did that to me. I looked at her social media and I was like, "Oh, you have deleted every picture of us." And at that point, this is the funny thing. You want to know what's going on, and I knew her. Her like Instagram was set to private, and but I had to unfriend her because I I was in a very dark place, and it's like if I had seen her, if she had posted a picture, just the couple times she posted, it just tore me up, and so I was like, okay, I can't do this to myself. And then she has since blocked me. Why I don't know. Again, somehow I'm the villain, I guess.
Uh, did you see that she had blocked you before you saw her as living nearby, or before you saw her at the nail salon, or did that happen after?
Um, Before I knew we were living close by, um, but sometime, I guess, sometime maybe it was, I don't know exactly because I quit looking for a while, and
Yeah.
then I had one picture left, and then that she was tagged in, and then uh, I clicked on it. It was like this person doesn't exist. I'm like, oh, she blocked me.
Yikes.
Uh, so
So here's the other interesting angle when it comes to dating in the 21st century with social media implications. And that is for the third wheels. because because when someone is in a serious relationship, what happens? You meet their friends, right? You meet their family. Well, you also now become friends with them on social media.
right. And
So
and I know that you are still friends with her, and but I have never asked. Uh, like I trust that if there was anything significant, you would give me a heads up so I didn't get blindsided. Other than that, it's like I don't want to know.
yeah, first of all, I absolutely would. But it's interesting because it's like, oh God, it's interesting on so many levels from the outside looking in. From the third wheel perspective, it's really effed up because I feel badly for you. You're one of my closest friends. You're one of the people on this planet I've known for a very long time. And um, I'm obviously on your side. And I didn't realize before you guys were together that she and I were already friends on social media. I didn't realize that.
She was a fan of the show, and I mean going back to the radio days and then the podcast. So yeah,
So when you guys, when the relationship ended, I looked to see if she had, canceled me as well, and it showed that we still followed each other. I was like, oh, okay, all right then. So the other angle then is, since she hasn't blocked me, as far as I know, I haven't checked. Do you need me to? Do you want me to unfriend her? These are the weird
no,
conversations you have in the 21st century when it comes to dating. When someone's
like
relationship ends
like I
and you're
said,
friends with the ex on social media, am I supposed to keep that? Do I unfollow? What do I do there?
no, you shouldn't do a thing. Like I said, there's no jealousy or anything else. Um, and so no, I don't feel like there's some betrayal or anything that you're still friends with her, and you should be. And it is what it is. So I have no it doesn't bother me at all that y'all are friends. And you know, like I said, I have gotten to a point, and this is age and this is everything else. And, you know, I pray that she finds peace and happiness and heals from whatever ails her. I'm sorry that she, you know, thinks I'm such an awful person and won't talk to me, but it is what it is.
It's amazing. There are sometimes when I hear this version of you say things like you just did, and I wish I could take the recording of it and play it for the Trey I knew 20 years ago, just to see just to see what he would say. There'd be a lot of bleeps. This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. To get your free roof inspection and property review, they do that for free as well. Just call 833-COOK-DFW. That's 833-COOK-DFW. The website, excuse me as I'm burping through this, is cookdfw.com. Best to catch a small problem before it becomes a major one. So do make sure you take care of any sort of small problems before they become massive issues. 833-COOK-DFW, or again, that website, cookdfw.com. Back inside the Treehouse, I'm Dan, along with Trey. Today is Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. Let's celebrate with some birthdays. Hang on. All right, turning 69 today, Jon Lovitz, former Saturday Night Live cast member, famous for characters like Tommy Flanagan, the pathological liar. Jon Lovitz, 69 today. To me, part of what I consider to be the heyday, like the golden era of Saturday Night Live, when him, Phil Hartman, like that 90s era. Saturday Night Live was really, really solid, and some of the late 80s as well. I think he kind of carried over from the 80s and in the 90s.
He's, you know, and it's funny how we remember SNL, because like SNL in the 80s gets panned a lot, but it was actually really good. I mean, the Eddie Murphy days, Joe Piscopo, that Kevin Nealon,
the blonde Jackson, Victoria Jackson. Mm-hmm. There were so many great cast members. Phil Hartman was one of the all-time best.
Oh, I went back. I've watched a few episodes of NewsRadio. It's such a good show. And
you talk about ripping open a time capsule when it comes to a television show and seeing people that were a part of that show back then and knowing what some of them are doing now. You're woof.
I mean, Joe Rogan is has hair.
And he's like the sixth person down on the cast list in that show.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a fantastic cast. And, you know, sadly, you know, Phil Hartman's no longer with us, but and Andy Dick's such a mess. But one of the funny in the second episode, it's just, you know, it's like they're doing a story on Joey Buttafuoco, and they're like, Andy Dick comes out of the booth, and they're going, it's Buttafuoco, not what you said. And he's like, I don't get it. And he's like, I'll get you in a second. And they're like, oh God.
That's up there like in our radio days about whether or not to say Schitt's Creek on the radio. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, I mean, it's SCHITTS, and, you know, Canada's saying it, so why can't we? And it's with a name like Buttafuoco. It's like, you want to make sure you say that one right.
Yeah, don't get the hard cut in there.
Mm-hmm. Was that so? Whenever I hear the name Buttafuoco, was it on NewsRadio where they were, maybe this scene you're talking about, where they were trying to like Buttafuoco? I don't know why that's in my head. I don't know if it was a Saturday Night Live bit or maybe it was on NewsRadio, but for some reason I remember someone somewhere saying but a fuoco, and I don't know why that's in my brain.
No, this one obviously, clearly he said but a fucko. And but yeah, that was it's a funny show.
That's a great show. I don't know, is it streaming anywhere? Because that's a show I would love to go back and watch.
Yeah, it's on Roku.
Okay. Yeah, because I just off the top of my head, thinking about the cast, obviously you got Andy Dick, Joe Rogan. I'm brain farting Phil Hartman. I'm brain farting on the guy who was the program director that was from Kids in the Hall, Dave Foley.
Yep.
He was like the star of the show.
Yeah.
And then the station manager or owner, I forget which, is Stephen Root, who's the guy that goes on to play Milton in Office Space, wanting his stapler. He's also the guy that was the middle-aged guy with the wife that hated him in Dodgeball.
Mm-hmm.
I like Stephen Root's one of my favorite actors. I think I've loved pretty much everything I've seen him in. And when he's Jimmy James in NewsRadio, he is so good.
Oh, yeah.
It is freaky. And watching that show, NewsRadio, that show was on around the time that I was starting to get into radio. And so when I've gone back and watched episodes of it, it is so relatable from a radio employee perspective.
Oh, yeah, no, it is.
They did good.
But yeah, no, it's a fantastic cast. Mara Tierney, like she was great in the 90s and 2000s and some really good roles. But no, that cast is phenomenal, and it's a funny show. It's a gem.
Mm-hmm. And since we're talking, we went off on this tangent because it's Jon Lovitz's birthday. We mentioned Andy Dick from NewsRadio. It's important to mention the altercation that happened between Jon Lovitz and Andy Dick after Phil Hartman died. And that is the physical confrontation from a bitter years-long feud regarding the tragic 1998 deaths of their friends Phil and Bryn Hartman. You ever heard about this?
No.
Ooh, this is good. So Jon Lovitz blamed Andy Dick for Bryn Hartman's relapse into cocaine addiction. Bryn Hartman was Phil Hartman's wife, which preceded her fatally shooting her husband, Phil, and then herself. Andy Dick has denied providing her with the drugs. At a restaurant in West Hollywood, a drunken Andy Dick allegedly approached Jon Lovitz and told him, "I put the Phil Hartman hex on you. You're the next one to die," before downing the drinks at Jon Lovitz's table. When the two comedians saw each other at the Laugh Factory a year later, Lovitz demanded an apology for the hex. Andy Dick refused, which prompted Lovitz to physically assault him. And by physically assault him, I mean he grabbed Andy Dick by the lapels and repeatedly smashed his head and back into a bar. Which, let's be honest, lots of people had wanted to do that to Andy Dick. So kudos to Jon Lovitz. And honest to God, when I first heard this story, I was like, Jon Lovitz did that?
Yeah, that's
that's not a guy I would expect to go off and just beat out of somebody.
And especially you look at what has become of Andy Dick, and then you think, he might have been right, because Andy Dick clearly now looks like someone who has been using drugs way too long, and he is just fried.
Absolutely. And so like in that scenario, like in your scenario, I'm Team Trey when it comes to you and your ex-girlfriend. In Lovitz, Andy Dick, I'm Team Lovitz.
Yeah, absolutely.
Smack that bitch up. So happy birthday, Jon Lovitz, 69. Josh Hartnett is 48. He's one of those guys that's had an interesting Hollywood career. He's one of the stars of Black Hawk Down. He was in Pearl Harbor opposite Ben Affleck in that weird ass Michael Bay depiction of Pearl Harbor. God, that was weird. Although
I always like the movie.
I do. It's a movie I can watch pretty much anytime it's on.
I mean, it's a Michael Bay movie, and especially in that time, there's a lot of explosions, a lot of very dramatic scenes, but it was good.
And look, I mean, if we're being honest, in the 90s, in that time frame, Ben Affleck, Josh Hartnett, falling in love with the same woman, played by a very attractive actress. I am absolutely brain farting on her name. Oh,
Um,
she was one of like my 90s and early 2000s crushes.
Kate
Uh,
Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale,
Yes.
especially with her role in the vampire movies that she did. Whew. So anyway, you know, when you think about two guys battling it over a girl, you're like, no, man, we're not doing that, bros before hoes kind of a thing. But then when you see Kate Beckinsale in Pearl Harbor, you're like, I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd punch you, Trey.
I'd expect nothing less.
And I'd expect you to hit back. So Josh Hartnett, 48 today. Like I said, he's had one of those interesting Hollywood careers because he started out really hot and then it kind of cooled off for some reason. No idea why. And then he's had a bit of a resurgence. He was in a movie, in an M. Night Shyamalan movie last year, a couple of years ago, where the movie was called Trap. And I loved the premise of the film. The movie was mostly good. It was okay. Are you familiar with this at all?
Mm-mm.
So the movie was called Trap. Josh Hartnett goes to a concert, sort of like Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga type concert. Okay.
Okay.
He takes his daughter to this concert, and the concert is a trap that the FBI and the police have set to catch a serial killer.
Yeah.
And he's the serial killer.
Okay. Yeah. I remember, I want to say that it was on Netflix for a while. And I remember, I was like, that looks really good.
I mean, like I said, the premise is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I first saw the trailer for that, I was like, "Ooh, that is good." And you know, it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, so it didn't quite stick the landing. It was good, it was interesting, and it turned out it was a nice vehicle for M. Night Shyamalan to promote his daughter's musical career because his daughter played the singer in the movie, and the music that they played was some of her original stuff.
What was his? He did the Blair Witch Project, or was that something? What made him famous?
Signs.
Oh, okay.
Signs did it, and to be fair,
yeah,
it was worth it. Some of his other movies, not so much. I'm sorry, actually, no. Signs was him, but I don't think that was the one that got him his start. The one that got him his start was I See Dead People.
Okay. Sixth Sense?
That's it. Yes, Sixth Sense. That was his breakout thing. Sixth Sense was his breakout thing. Signs was really, really good. I love that movie. I love Signs. I think that's so good. It was so clever, so well done. And then a bunch of his other movies were just kind of like, The Happening is my favorite of those. It is such a nothing burger of a movie. Have you ever seen that with Mark Wahlberg? I didn't mean for the Nothing Burger and the Wahlburger thing to be in there. It just kind of worked out. Yeah, I think it was Zooey Deschanel, Mark Wahlberg was The Happening, and they can't figure out why people are killing themselves. Like the movie starts with, oh, it's a normal day, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, all these people are just like throwing themselves off buildings and stuff. Turns out it was the trees. Spoiler alert. Oh. The trees are just going,
well, damn you.
I know. Sorry, man. That's the big reveal of the movie. It's the trees. 2 hours. It's the trees. Like, God help me.
Are they like Ents in Lord of the Rings, or are they just trees?
No, they're just trees.
Oh yeah,
just blowing in the wind.
That sounds like a movie I'd be very disappointed with. So thanks for the spoiler.
Everybody was, trust me. I don't know if he's a disappointment or not, but Rory Culkin is 37. I say I don't know if he's a disappointment or not. He comes from the Culkin family. He's just one of the youngest kids. So Rory Culkin is known for films such as Signs, Lords of Chaos, Black Mirror. So Rory Culkin got his start in Hollywood by playing the younger version of his older brothers in other projects. Because you've got Macaulay Culkin as the main Culkin kid, and then
Kieran
Culkin is the one that's killing it with everything he touches.
It's interesting you brought that because I just started watching Succession.
How good is that? I've heard nothing but great things.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm I'm 7 episodes in the first season, but it is fantastic cast. I love Brian Cox. Like it's something about him, and so I have found it absolutely fantastic.
Everyone I've ever talked to that has said anything about this show, it's been glowing. It's on my list of things to watch. I just can't quite get there yet.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I saw something about it, and I was like, you know what? I was kind of I didn't want to get any more. I have found that I have to be in the right mindset to watch Game of Thrones.
That makes sense. That's you got to pay attention, man.
That's It's like you've really got to be watching it. And there's sometimes. So I was also on HBO. I started watching Succession because I was gonna watch that, or I never watched The Wire, and everyone has said The Wire. It was fantastic.
I saw a couple of episodes back when it first aired, and I really liked it, but I just didn't. I guess I didn't have time to watch it when it actually aired back in the day. And I'm with you. That's one that I want to go back and actually watch because it's one of the greatest television shows of all time, according to people.
But Succession so far, like I said, I think I'm 7 episodes in the first season. Fantastic.
2 more birthdays I want to mention. Both are deceased, but they're very prominent ones. Robin Williams would have been 75 today. He passed away in 2014.
Have you read the stories about why he committed suicide?
No.
Basically, he was in there's a name for it, but he was in a very advanced stage of dementia / Alzheimer's. And he was at a point where they said the last movie he did, that he had to have cue cards for everything. He couldn't remember any lines. And so evidently when they did an autopsy on him and they figured this out and said, sadly, at least today, they probably could have slowed down the progression, but that's why. But he is one of the few celebrities where his death actually really made me sad because he was such a part of from Mork and Mindy on up, everything. I can't really think of anything he did that was really bad.
Same. It's sort of like we grew up watching all his stuff.
Yeah.
From, like you mentioned, from Mork and Mindy to
Hook, to Good Will Hunting.
Hook, Good Will Hunting, Dead Poet Society. All the work he did, all his stand-up stuff. What was it? What was the big comedy Relief? I remember watching those, and he and Billy Crystal doing those. Mentioning those two, the little cameo that the two of them did on Friends, that was really funny. Patch Adams. Mm-hmm. I mean, so many great roles. Mrs. Doubtfire. Speaking of stories and sharing things with each other that the other didn't know. Did you know what Robin Williams did to Sally Field on the set of Mrs. Doubtfire?
Yes. I something about it. It was like the courtroom scene, and she had just lost.
Yeah. For the sake of me telling this brief story, say no, I don't. Tell me.
No, Dan, tell me.
I'd be happy to, Trey. So while filming Mrs. Doubtfire, they're filming, this emotional scene, and it's like a courtroom scene. Sally Field's character is divorcing, Daniel, Robin Williams' character, and something like Robin Williams could tell something was wrong, something was off with Sally Field, and he's like, "What's wrong?" And she told him, I just found out that my dad died. And apparently they'd had this strained relationship, but she said that she was sort of in a place trying to process this whole thing that had just happened. She just learned that her dad had died, and she was like, she had to go to work that day. She had to. They had to stay on schedule. They had all these reasons. Studio stuff. Producers are like, we have to get these shots in. We have to get this movie done. Blah blah blah. And so she tells him, well, yeah, my dad died. And when the way Sally Field told this story that I saw, she emphasizes that this is basically the height of Robin Williams' career. And so they shared like a emotional moment together, and he offered his sympathies and things, and then he stood up and said, "We're done for today," and just shut the whole effing movie down so she could go and do her thing. And then once she was ready, she came back, and then they finished the movie. But I mean, she was like, that was his movie. And obviously he knew he had the power to call that shot. And he's like, "We're done for the day." And they're all like, "Oh, okay."
One of the other great stories about him, and one of my favorite, probably maybe one of my top 3 all-time favorite movies is The Birdcage. And obviously Nathan Lane was gay, but at that time, that was, I mean, it's so hard for people to understand that of truly what In the Closet was, but they were like on an interview with Oprah, and Nathan Lane tells a story about she was kind of leaning in a direction of asking him kind of about sexuality and everything else, and said Robin just stepped in and like took the bullet and just kept veering off into another direction to shield him from having to talk about it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing to not only to do it, but to have the wherewithal and the acumen to see that unfolding and be able to do something about it. So, albeit posthumously, happy birthday, Robin Williams. One more birthday that is of a deceased person. And I have to admit, this is one of those I have a little bit of a hot take on. Ernest Hemingway is 127 today, if he was still alive. He passed away in 1961. He is the Nobel-winning prize author of The Old Man and the Sea and For Whom the Bell Tolls, which sucks. Here's my hot take with Ernest Hemingway. I went to the bookstore last year and I was like, you know what? I'm going to finally read some of these classics that I was supposed to in high school that I just read the Cliff's Notes and went to football practice for instead, right? So I went to the bookstore and I got not one, but 2 Ernest Hemingway books. I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to read Hemingway like a damn man. And I read it and I was like, eh. Look, I get it. It was his writing style was revolutionary for the time, but and don't get me wrong, he does have the absolute best short story of all time. For Sale, Baby Shoes, never used. But I was not a fan of the book that I read. The 1.5 books I read.
I know I had to read, I want to say For Whom the Bell Tolls, but I just don't remember. I don't remember it. But I think there's one of the fascinating things. Some of the literature that we grew up with, I think with the changes in technology it's changed our perspective on how we look at it.
What do you mean?
I think it's harder to relate to.
That could be.
I mean, especially for younger, anyone 35 or under, they don't know a world without cell phones, without internet. And I'll tell you, it sounds simple, but when I was in the previous relationship and she had kids, we had the kid read the Hardy Boys, which I always loved the Hardy Boys growing up.
I did too.
Totally unrelatable now, because you look at some of the ways they solve things. They're like, well, why wouldn't you just go online? And look.
The Hardy Boys didn't have the internet, you little effer.
But that's what it's so hard for them to understand. No internet, no TV. If you had TV, only 3 channels, and no email. Having to look stuff up that no Google is probably the biggest thing. Yeah. That their minds can no longer wrap themselves around, is actually having to look at a dictionary, World Book, encyclopedia, do research instead of just going, "Hey, Google."
Yeah. But how is it that they, like, they have to be able to process some of this stuff. And what I mean is, like, if they're watching a Western, they know that there's no Google, when you're, watching a show about
Listen,
the wild, wild west.
watching is different.
Okay.
Reading, where you actually have to use some imagination. It is, if I would say that is the one problem with this new generation, is they lack the imagination because everything's visual for them.
It's all spoon fed. It's
Yeah.
like they don't have to come up with anything in their mind. It's just usually right there on the tablet.
And it's why they don't read.
So the book that I read all of by Ernest Hemingway was A Farewell to Arms, one of his, famous ones. And I got about halfway through For Whom the Bell Tolls, and I was just like, well, why am I forcing myself to finish this? I'm not enjoying it. Look, I'm all about a brief writing style, but the way he did it, it just seemed, I guess like with Hemingway, it's either a love or a hate thing.
Yeah.
I guess some people love it, and that's fine. If that's your jam, cool. But I will say the ending of Farewell to Arms, didn't expect that. So I give him props on that. Do you want me to tell you, or are you worried about me spoiling a book that's almost 100 years old?
I think you're safe.
Okay. So he plays a ambulance driver in the First World War. Okay. And he meets a woman and they fall in love. And I believe I'm thinking about the book now and I'm like, this is so bad. But the ending is he meets this woman, or he's met this woman, and I think they end up getting married. She gets pregnant. And at the end of the movie, she and the baby both die. And that's the end of the book, which honestly, I gave him a lot of credit for. I was like, I did not see that coming. Props to Ernest Hemingway on the plot twist.
Now I think I've that sounds familiar. So I don't know if maybe I don't think I read that, but that ending sounds very familiar. So either you're not the first person to tell me that, or I don't know.
Yeah. I also felt, like at the end of that Hemingway novel where the wife and the baby both die. And I'm thinking, lucky bastards. Back inside the treehouse, I'm Dan along with Trey. Trey, have you ever spotted cheese on a lady?
Huh?
It's probably the response I expected. Saw this on Reddit. My boyfriend spotted cheese on me. I'm so embarrassed. And then she had to edit it.
Like, they used to say like thighs or like cottage cheese, like, okay.
She writes, my boyfriend spotted cheese on me. I'm so embarrassed. Then she had to go back and make an edit. She edits and says, sorry for calling it cheese, LOL. I mean discharge. My boyfriend spotted discharge. English is not my first language. She says, this happened yesterday. I promise I am a very hygienic person and I take that stuff seriously. Yesterday, however, I had to hurry through the shower. Of course, I washed my private parts, but clearly not well enough. In the late afternoon, evening, things got hot and heavy. My boyfriend went downtown. Everything was normal. After 5 minutes, I guess he got in there more. And she says, that's when he stopped and said, you showered today, right? She says, I swear my stomach dropped. I don't know why, but I'm so scared of being perceived as dirty or unhygienic. Anyways, I responded, yes. His response, you got some cheese. She goes on to say, I wanted to die.
Did he say this as he is getting dressed and leaving and running away?
Like as he's closing, as he's running down the hall, you got some cheese.
Yeah. Hey, just so you know.
Well, it's either that or you grab a package. Yeah, it's either that or you grab a package of Ritz.
Oh.
She says he couldn't. She says he said he couldn't taste anything weird, but Actually, my tasted pretty neutral, as he before has described a slightly acidic taste, and he said it was a small amount, nothing crazy. At this point, I was 100% sure that this was a mood killer for him, but no, it actually wasn't. She says he wiped it away and insisted on wanting to keep going. So my boy did go grab a package of Ritz.
I don't know whether to say he's a better man than me or obviously he has more intestinal fortitude, because at that point I would have to go, all right, babe, we're gonna have to resume this at another time. And you go get in the shower.
I think it's time that I need some space. And I think it's time I see some other vaginas. Yeah. This is where, and this is going to be crude to some people, but the men are talking now. This is where you need to take the produce test seriously, right? When you're at the grocery store and you're squeezing an avocado to see if it's ready, or you're knocking on a melon to see if it's ripe, you're doing all these things. If you get down there on your lady and it's growing something that is not supposed to be there, don't eat it.
Yeah, if it looks like, something you saw in a Tom and Jerry cartoon, walk away.
If this looks like something a chef might put on top of an amuse-bouche, get out of there.
Oh.
If you open up a bag of bread and it's moldy, you don't eat it, do you?
Yeah.
Also, if you get down there on your lady and it smells like moldy bread, don't eat it.
Yeah. Or if it looks like and smells like moldy cheese, it's not a salad.
Treat it like Taco Bell lettuce. Get out of there. Don't eat it. Oh my God, it's amazing what people will share online. If you would like to share a Dear Treehouse with us, be sure to send that to Trey at Trey Trinholm on social media. And you can also follow the Treehouse Show on social media and on YouTube. At Treehouse On Air is the handle for both of those, at Treehouse On Air. And once again, if you enjoyed the show today, hit that share button from your favorite listening platform, send it to a friend, share it on social media, and together let's grow the Treehouse Show. We will see you next time right here inside the Treehouse. That is cheese-free.
No feta.
Ugh.